we are better together, and we can't really do it at a high level alone. We can think for a while, we can. And then we're going to hit a place where we're like, I really need a community of help to just maybe even help me get through.
Y'all, today's show is so good.
But number one, I've never seen an intro like that.
It is my hope and desire that not only will episode 30 still be fun, but episode 300 will be even more fun. You are made for something great, so go and be awesome.
Ten seconds remaining.
And welcome to the show. My name is Renee Hastings, and I'm your host of Renee Speaks. Y'all, today's show is going to be so fantastic, and part of that is because of our amazing sponsor, Wilbron. Wilbron is Alabama's premier public relations firm. If y'all have any PR needs, be sure to hit them up at www.wilbron.com. Y'all, I am so excited to introduce our guest for today's show. Her name is Sandy Corrigan, and she's an author, a coach, speaker, and a podcaster. And she's passionate about family, animals, and purposeful living. She has coached over 250 CEOs. She's helped businesses double profits and co-founded Transformation Companies, LLC, offering real estate and coaching services. As Chief Connotation Officer for the Crankset Group, she helps small business owners align work with their ideal lifestyles. She also founded Love Well by Doing Good to inspire meaningful change. Y'all, put your hands together for Sandy Corrigan.
I was having fun dancing to that intro music. That was really fun. I just need a Renee every morning.
Right, there you go. I love it. Love it. So excited to have you on the show, Sandy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. So excited to get to know you as well.
Yeah, same here. As I was doing my research on you and I learned so much, I can't wait to share with our audience your story. It's truly amazing, impressive, and happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. This was 69.
What? What, as in years?
Yes.
No way.
Yes. And the reason I say that is because, and I'll tell you a little in our time together, is I just think beauty isn't a number,
Right.
And so
Obviously.
part of my goal in Loving Well by Doing Good is to inspire women at every age to just continue to be amazing.
Oh my, I would never in a million years have guessed that you just celebrated your 69th birthday. You look absolutely phenomenal. Hashtag goals. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for your wealth of knowledge and wisdom that you're sharing with us and our audience. It is truly amazing. And I agree. Wisdom comes at every age. Age is just a number. And I'm so grateful that you got to get 69 of them and look amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your journey. How did things get started for you? And where did the passion and drive come from for Love Well by Doing Good?
Well, thanks. I think I get asked this a lot. I think when people interview you, they ask that question, like, how did this start? How did it start? And I have to say, I think I was born with it. I was born
Mhm.
into a family where I was the oldest of 6, and my siblings came along, almost 6 years later, one at a time. So I was kind of like the little mom. So I think I was learning to do that at a really early age, and kind of just always had this desire to help people in some way.
Mhm.
And so as I chose where I went to college, I was a theater and music major. I minored in psychology. As I began to enter the workforce and choose companies and things to do, I think it's all my theme of my life is I want to help people. And it's interesting. I just celebrated this 69th birthday, and my name means helper of mankind.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I think about that a lot in terms of purpose and identity and living that out in the world, because that's what I want to do. And that's what I really aspire to help other people to do. And
Mhm.
so I just think I was born with it. I was born with this deep desire to want to make a difference and to love people.
Wow, that is so admirable. An helper of mankind. What a wonderful name and to live up to.
Yeah, yeah, a big one. I mean, like, thanks, mom and dad.
No pressure.
No pressure, no pressure. I do. I think about that a lot. I think we'll talk about this today, but I think identity and purpose is so core to living a passionate life and a fulfilling and satisfying and profitable life.
Mhm.
Living a whole life, kind of, I just want to go out and spontaneously combust someday, because I don't even believe in retirement. We call it refirement.
Oh, I love
And
that.
because it keeps us passionate and young and vibrant and engaging and contributing to the world. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the origin story. It was really origin.
Mhm. I love it. It is so foundational to who you are and why I think why you do so well at what you do, because it truly is who you are at your core. You're not trying to put on somebody else's hat. You're not trying to live somebody else's life or walk somebody else's walk. You are being true to you and who you are. And we are all blessed because of it. So thank you so much for that.
Well, and thank you, because I say this and people kind of laugh because the word, I think, has gotten kind of a bad name, but I live in Colorado. It's very snowy here. I actually grew up in Wisconsin. It was very snowy there. And so I understand snowflakes and how
Mm.
different each one of them are. And so when I say we're all a snowflake, I mean it in the most beautiful, positive way. I have these photos of the snowflakes that are taken in really high definition, and they're beautiful. And I look at them sometimes and think about the client or the person that I'm in front of and working with, and how uniquely they're built, how you have a signature look, you have a signature sound, you have a signature way of operating and behaving and expressing yourself in the world. And I want to bring that out. I want the whole world to see that. I want to shine the spotlight on those snowflakes.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And being from Wisconsin, I can relate to the snowflakes.
You are from Wisconsin also?
I am, yeah.
Oh, where?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of this little Amish community called Dalton, Wisconsin?
Yes, yes, I have.
No way.
Yes,
Are you serious?
yes. I grew up in a little town called Burlington near Lake Geneva in the southeastern part of the state. So, but
Right,
traveled kind of all over. So awesome. I knew there was
right,
something else we had in common. That was tea.
right. We're Midwestern girls at
Yes,
heart.
yes, yes.
That's the absolute best. I love it. I love growing up in our Amish community. Even though we were the only Blacks in our
Mm,
community, everybody knew us.
mm,
And my grandfather instilled in us a really strong work ethic and a high value for integrity and being people of our word and working with excellence.
mhm.
And it was because everybody knew us
Yeah,
and we were all a representation of the family. So
yes,
it was super important that we act right and
yep,
do right and work
yes.
well.
Oh, yeah. I heard that message loud and strong growing up. But I'm so grateful that even at a young age, being a leader in my family because of my siblings, I look at that and my narrative could be kind of whining and complaining about that. But really, my narrative is I learned leadership and work ethic and strong values at a really young age. And they're still really important to me. And I think they're really important to all of us as business owners to really know, what do we stand for? And then can we live it out? I would say love looks like something. And so if you tell me you have a value of integrity, you're going to do what you say. I'm going to do what I say. I want people to be able to look and give examples of how they see me doing that. Because otherwise it's lip service or words on a page or a wall. And so I'm so grateful to my family for instilling incredible values at an early age. I can't take credit for lots of this. My parents, we were not perfect. I'll tell you that whole story someday, but they were incredible in that way.
That's awesome. And I love how our foundations truly, how you reflect that, living it out, how we're the values that were instilled in our parents and our grandparents. And that was what was displayed to us as young people. And it just kind of became the norm, you know. It's not anything to complain about. It just is what it is. And it's good. So if you continue on this path or this trajectory, your life is going to be good because you'll be a person of integrity. You'll be a person who's being true to yourself, and you are upholding the family values along the way. So it just all kind of, it's a ripple effect, I think, of just doing what comes naturally.
And it's the grid to make decisions. So when I'm coaching with business owners, we talk about what's your vision. That's for you, right? Mine is love well by doing good. It really doesn't matter what my profession is, because can I do that? Can I get up in the morning and do that at the grocery store? Can I do that if I'm serving at a restaurant? Can I do that if I'm running a company? And so a really good vision statement, it doesn't matter what you do. It's who you are as you do it. And then as you look at your mission, what you do for your client, and then the values, the way you reflect that, it becomes a really great grid to make decisions. Because if my vision is love well by doing good and a decision comes my way, that's the first thing I'm going to ask is, will this help me love well by doing good? And I think that's one of the things that I love bringing to business owners, that I think is, we talk about it and we incorporate it, but my goal is to really get to know you from the inside out, so we can really bring that out of you. And then how do we infuse that into your whole life and your business? Because we only have one life. We don't have a business life. People go, are you a business coach or a life coach? And I'm like, I'm a coach, because I can't separate. Business is a huge part of my life, but we have a life, right? And I want to be consistent with who you see me as personally in my social life or in my family, as who you see me as a business person too. And so I love being able to, so many times I'll be coaching a business owner and they'll be like, wow, I've always said that's a value, but that's not really my top value. This is. And so then we work on how do we express that in their brand and in their marketing and through the way they hire people and the way that they talk about what they create or what they do. And that's the spark, Renee. That's the passion that often gets lost, I think, in small business. We're very passionate in the beginning. We start our business, we maybe have a little money, we have all this excitement, and then, we hit the wall, right? It's like sailing. We get in the water and we sail, and then we hit a sandbar or a storm comes up. And when enough of those happen without, knowing clearly where we're going, then we can really get discouraged. And now we're just getting up every day and doing the job, but the passion, the fire of the passion is wavering. And so I really feel like my job in the world is to bring my lighter and say, let's dig in there, because I know how to help you light that again in a way that ignites you even for an even longer period of time, for the rest of your life. Because if I help you know who you are, and I help you really see that, and I help you express that, then you do get up every day, even in the hard days of life or business, and you have a drive that's unstoppable inside. And I think we all want that, right?
Absolutely. 100%. And I love how you said that it doesn't matter what you do. It's who you are while you're doing it.
Yes, it is.
Are you truly living out your greatest potential? And is that fire, is that spark still alive? And it's so great that you have the tools and the resources and the skills and the knowledge to be able to help people get that back. Because I know in the business that we have, it is truly every morning I look forward to getting up, even if there are some stormy situations or whatever, I just think of it as an opportunity for me to grow in a whole brand new area and to have a conversation that I've never had to have before. And it's scary as all get out, but I get to do it. And I wouldn't get to do it were the situation not presented. Does that make sense?
Yes, and that's the perfect recipe, right? Who are you and why are you here? And so often in the triangle, we start a business and we're like, here's what I'm going to do, and here's how I'm going to do it. But I'm not really starting at the most foundational level of who am I and why am I here? Why am I doing this? Like beyond, I mean, we all want to make money because we have to pay our bills and support our family, and we have dreams for our family, and we want to go on vacation, all those kind of things. We all want that. But then when we succeed at that, if we don't have something greater or bigger to propel us forward, I'll tell you a story when my husband, so we have 4 girls, we have a blended family of 4 girls. And when the last daughter went off to college, my never depressed husband was like sleeping in, like he's a 4:30, 5 o'clock person. He's sleeping until 6:30 or 7. He's more withdrawn. I'm like, what is going on? And we had gone to a big business convention, and his coach said, Tom, what do you care most about? And he said, well, gosh, I cared about getting each of my daughters successfully, in school and on their own. And now that the last one is doing that, who am I? Like, what am I about now? Right. And so at the time, and we still are very passionate about providing water. We provide water in other places, but just recently in the last few years, we found that there are 1 million Native Americans who do not have clean running water in our country.
Here in America?
In America.
What?
And so we are passionate because think about water as one of the most foundational aspects of life.
Right.
And so we began investing, and Tom started to say, like, I really care about that, but am I talking about it? Like I talked to you about it, Sandy, or maybe our family or somebody else. And his coach said this, do you talk about it to your clients? And he's like, well, no, like that would be squishy or maybe feel weird. And she said, why? Don't you think people want to know who you are and why you do what you do? So he was really nervous about that, but he put a little paragraph in his listing presentation about clean water. And he got a call, or it was a referral from a friend who was selling a multi-million-dollar home. And he went to that interview and knew he was up against the very best people in the city. And as he went through his presentation, he felt awkward to even say, well, this is what I do. We contribute and we take a percentage of our profits. And with every transaction, we do this and you're part of that. And so he was real shy about it. And he turned the page and the people said, wait a minute, go back and tell me more about that. And he spent all this time talking about it to them. And so then he left. Thank you very much. We'll, be in touch. And a couple days later, he got a call saying, you're the person we want to hire. And he said, I'm really curious. I was up against incredible people. Why did you choose me? And they said, Tom, you were the one person who talked about doing something way beyond real estate with what you do. And we want to work with you. We want to be part of that. And that was maybe 18 years ago.
Wow.
And that was one of the first indicators for me that we need to be who we are in the world and tell people about it, because people want to work with us. And it helps. It's kind of like when we talk about our target client, I also say, you've got to talk about that. Because people who also care, like you just said, I can't believe there's 1 million people in North America that don't have water.
Right.
I want to be part of that, right? So whatever we're doing that makes impact, we're going to find people out there who say that's the person. Because let's face it, there are a lot of people who own virtual assistant companies. There are a lot of coaches in the world, right? But what makes us different? There are a lot of things, but certainly what we care about and how we want to impact the world is one significant thing that makes us really different. We have people want to come to work with us because they know what else we're doing together in the world. So really great story, that affected. In fact, Loving Well by Doing Good is really good for business. That was a $65,000 commission.
Wow. Wow. Now, when that is so impressive, thank you so much for sharing that story. That really kind of just really nails home the importance of doing, of knowing that what you're doing is bigger than just yourself.
Yes.
That the lives that you're impacting aren't just your immediate family, that, you get to feed and keep sheltered, but it's for something more. It's impacting more communities. It's impacting generations to come that aren't even here yet because you're providing clean water for their sustenance. That is so amazing. I don't blame that company. I would be right there on that bandwagon. You would definitely get my vote for sure, 100% of the time, without a doubt, because that is so impactful and so meaningful. And something that I think our audience, who is primarily women entrepreneurs, need to think about, as we're building our businesses, is it primarily just to provide the one service, or is that service a means to an end for something bigger? That's what we really need to be thinking about.
Yeah.
And so you have given me lots of food for thought as I think about, 2025 is coming and it's a time for new beginnings. I'm not going to make a resolution because everyone does that, but what is our future going to look like? So thank you. Thank you very much for that.
One of the questions you asked me previous to this was, what does an ideal lifestyle look like? And so we help coach people to accomplish an ideal lifestyle. And so often, I think, at least in this country, it's build a business, take care of your family, put some savings away, sell the business, and then play golf, I guess, or sit on the couch. I don't know. But what happens to entrepreneurs is they do that and they're like, what can I start now? And so often they could have kept that business going. Someone else could have even run it, or maybe I work with a lot of dental business owners, and they love doing dentistry. They love doing the stuff. And so they don't realize they could have someone else really helping to lead that business in other areas so they could do more of that, or be in the office a couple days a week and still benefit from the asset of that business forever. Because I think one of the things, and I'm sure you'll relate to this, is we want to be about legacy too, right? So once we are about making enough money, right, making more money in less time and getting off that treadmill ourselves and being able to provide for family and get time and freedom, then the next piece comes is I told you I'm 69. Like, I only have 60 more years left on the earth. So I got to make something of it. So I want to leave a legacy, right? And I think we all deep down inside, we want to be about something. It's satisfying to us, but there's also something bigger. I'm a person of faith. So I just really believed at birth we were infused with a real purpose and making impact in the world in a significant way and to love well. And so what are we doing in our business to build significance in right from the beginning? Why are we waiting until we think we've got enough money? Why aren't we looking at what is significant? What do I care about right away? And how do I just make that part of the fabric and the song of my business? Right. Do you know that there are statistics? So Gallup does a lot of statistics on retention and engagement, and they celebrate when they're at 32%. Well, I always think about if your washing machine was only performing 32% of the time, how would you feel about it? You would be getting a new washing machine.
Absolutely.
But we put up with 32% engagement from our people. But it's not their fault because we haven't built something that engages them at a deeper way. When we do what we're talking about, engagement goes up over 50%. Retention goes up over 50% when we are loving well by doing good and being intentional about it. And that really matters because I want to help business owners be profitable. So because resources are really good to make impact in the world. And so we've got to be clear then about what's the goal? Beyond the making money and time, what else? There's all kinds of cool stuff we can do in the world when we have more time and more money.
Right. Absolutely. 100%. And I love how you just narrowed it down that what we believe or the things that we're passionate about that are not work related, they can become part of the fabric of our business. Like it doesn't have to be separate. So I love how your husband fought through that fear to go ahead and talk about it and have courage. And that courage is what landed him the Great Commission. And it's just so important that we not forget about that part because we are all here for a purpose. We all have our own God-given gifts, skills, and talents. And if we don't share them with the world, then it's like having a gift for like for your birthday. Someone brings you a present, but then they take it back.
Or or they don't let you unwrap it.
Or they don't let you unwrap it. Like, what kind of gift is that? No. You give these gifts, skills, and talents that you have. It's a blessing to the recipient, and only you can do it. So we have to not be selfish with our gifts and to be brave and to live out what we're supposed to be doing. And I know a lot of people start businesses for the money. When you do good just by doing what you love to do, the money comes. You don't even have to make that your focus or your aim or your goal. It just happens as an extension of you already doing the right thing. Do you believe that that's true, or do you really have?
No, I really do. And in fact, you hear the words, the big why, right, in the world, right? And that's what we're talking about is like, what is yours? But if you're a listener out there, you might be like me several years ago where you're like, I don't know what that is. Like, I know I care about this and I care about that, but like, I don't have a big why. Like I'm not, helping solve hunger in the world, right? Like we think that that's what it has to be. And that's wonderful. I want to do that. I want to be part of that. But sometimes it is like, I want to make enough money to get out of debt, or I want to make enough money to get out of debt and have savings for my kids to go to college. So I think the purpose piece, there's always an identity piece, but the way the purpose happens or the way we choose the purpose does change in life. And so I wasn't always like, oh, let's, fund wells in Africa to provide clean water, because I was a single mom. I mean, I came to Colorado in my car and my clothes, and I had lost everything, and I had 2 teenage girls. And guess what? My purpose was, I don't want to be in a women's homeless shelter. I want to be able to get a place and provide for my kids. And that was my sole focus. And that was really important. And then as I accomplished that, it's like a goal realized isn't a goal anymore. And so what was going to be the next goal? And so this idea for me of love well by doing good came actually later in life, where I was like, all right, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. What's next? Right. And realized I wanted something that would impact everything I did in life. And so if you're a listener out there and you're like, oh my gosh, like, I'm failing because I don't have one of those, or I haven't articulated in such a way, I don't want you to feel bad. I want you to look at what is it that you care about, and maybe then let's say you are a single mom. And so you might decide to care about other single moms. And so what could you do to articulate that through what you do, or even support and partner with a not-for-profit or some kind of charity to be able to be part of that? Because what happens is now you're meeting people and they're getting to know you, and you have a certain business and you're involved in the thing that they are. And all of a sudden they're like, if I'm going to do business with this kind of company, I'm choosing you because we're doing things together we both care about. And so that why does change over time. You might have always had some big, amazing dream, or you might have been a person to say, my amazing dreams have been, I'm going to get this and this, and I'm going to do this and this. And because I felt so bad, I was sitting in a class. Chuck Blakeman, who is the founder of Crankset Group, you ought to interview him at some time. Renee, he's amazing. And he was doing a class on this whole idea of the big why, making impact, right? And I was sitting there, I was like almost in tears. I'm like, I don't have one of those. I'm terrible. Like I should care about something bigger, and I think I did in my heart, but I raised my hand and I said, well, how do I get one of those big whys, And he said, well, taught on some ways to get that. And then he said, Sandy, when you get that, you are going to turn the world on fire. When you know what that is inside of you, even if it's just the next one and then the next one, he said, you'll just be totally unstoppable. And he was right. And it took me a while to like coin that phrase of love well by doing good. You know, I messed around with a lot of different phrases till I'm like, wait, like what would I want people say she did in the world when she was gone? That every day, that she was a person who worked hard to love well and do good. And then I find out it's so good for business. So one more quick story. There is a company, there is an organization that looks at the S&P 500. And then there are the good to great companies. Jim Collins wrote that about in his book. Those companies are over 270% more productive than the S&P 500, and there's reasons why. But then there are 28 firms called the firms of endearment. And those firms exist beyond just profit or shareholder distribution, like Tom's Shoes. We sell a pair, we give a pair away. There's a pharmaceutical company that charges for medicine and then gives some away. So it's that both and idea. Those companies are over 15 years, they tracked them. They're almost 1,700% more productive.
Wow.
Because doing good is good for business. And so that's the big corporations. And so I've thought for a lot of years in my coaching, well, that's not any different for small business owners. In fact, in some ways, you can make decisions faster, you can pivot faster. So you may even be able to make impact faster. And so what if we helped you do that? You know, what could happen in terms of your engagement, your productivity, your profit, your impact? And so I want to award a company next year that is the first Love Well by Doing Good company.
Wow. Wow. That is, first of all, I never knew the numbers. So thank you so much for your research on that. And a lot of times, so there's so much that you said that was so jam-packed. And I was just hanging on to every word. And you and I have so much in common, being single parents and just trying to take care of children on your own and trying to be strong and doing all the things that, but I know doing good is the right thing to do. It's also amazing to know that it's the profitable thing to do. And it's not just for corporate America. It is for small businesses. Like I think Bombas with their socks, you know, you buy a pair of socks and they give a pair of socks away. What a great model. What an absolutely great model. And I love that partnership is what really makes a company more productive than their counterpart. I mean, there's so many other companies out there that do what we do, but how many of them have that component attached to it? I would like to be the first.
I mean, you said, what question would I like you to ask me? And that's, how can you help me do that, Sandy?
Yeah, how can you help me do that, Sandy?
Because that is my goal, and it's already there. I know it's already in you. I know there's already things you care about, and that's true for every business owner. And sometimes we start little, and it grows and grows and grows, right? We just start somewhere because people don't even realize it matters. I mean, they know it matters in their heart, but they don't realize it matters to everything. It matters to the way they live life socially in the world, but it also can really matter. It can. Think about it. It makes business more fun. You could do things together. You could, you know, let's say you care about single moms, you know, so you could be involved in organizations that provide services to those people. And as a team, you could do those. Those things are already happening, right? That's not a new idea.
Right.
But is it part of your brand?
Right.
Is it part of what people really know about you? And that's what I do.
Right. I love that. I think that is absolutely amazing. And that is fantastic. And that there has to be like because like you said, you were in that audience with that gentleman, and I hope that we'll share his name again, who helped you find your why. Like what, if you're sitting there and you're just happy that your kids are still alive and that you've kept them sheltered, you've kept them fed, you've kept them clothed, that was major, and that was all your goal was to keep them
alive. Make my car payment, feed them,
right?
Rest them for school.
Right,
and
right.
prom and homecoming. And, yeah.
I'm telling you, those are major accomplishments for a single parent, right? So when you haven't been able to think beyond what is that they call that, living right in your, there's a word, you're not scarcity, what is the word I'm looking for, where you are operating in a mode that's just for the absolute necessary. You don't even think beyond the absolute necessary. You don't have the capacity to think beyond the absolute necessary, because doing what the basic absolute necessary is all you have ever done.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so to think
it's really
more,
abundance, right? It's like
right.
it's love or fear. It's abundance or scarcity,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so what you're
Right.
talking about of living beyond, any kind of fear or scarcity is
Right.
incredibly freeing too. I don't know if that was
Yeah.
a word you were looking for, but
Well, and that too is a whole mindset shift, because when you're operating in this way of just doing all the things that are absolutely necessary, and you now get an opportunity to think bigger. And as you're thinking bigger and you want more abundance, that whole idea and that concept is so foreign to some people who are like me, coming up from low income to building something. That mind shift of being able to receive abundance and being okay with more than just the absolute necessary and the basics, that in itself is a whole another subject for another show, I think. But
yeah.
but it's so good when we can get beyond that, get the help we need to get beyond that, to be able to receive the goodness that does come as a result of doing good. That is so important, so important. And it is my hope and prayer and desire that everyone listening to the show now, when it airs or listens to a replay, will see that there is a way that they can get beyond themselves, out of their head, and welcome being the recipient of all that is great, that is for them. That is for
Yes.
them.
And what you're talking about, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the first places I like to start with people is from the inside out. And
Mhm.
it's not just the purpose piece, but it's the personal work that we have to do, and we have to do in an ongoing way, because we all have those messages. I mean, I grew up that way too. My parents worked 3 jobs, and I
Mhm.
often heard the words, never enough. And
Mhm.
so I had to break that idea that there was going to be never enough. I
Mhm.
I can think that way sometimes. I can go back and realize I'm caught in that again, in some
Mhm.
kind of scarcity thinking. And so one of the things my husband and I have also been involved in is our own personal work. I mean, not,
Mhm.
we have personal work like we can do with counselors and therapy, but we work with an organization called the Crucible Project. You would love it. It's a
Mhm.
faith-based experiential weekend. We do them for women, we do them for men, and then we have ongoing groups. And it allows us to look at those lies we believe and shatter those, like reframe those, create a different narrative. Because sometimes when we get that stuff out of the way, everything else comes into order in our business. And so often our obstacles are those kind of things. They're not really, I don't have enough money or I don't have enough clients. It's what's before that. Why? Like, why don't you have enough money or clients? There's something you may be bringing that's stopping you from being everything you can be, because we do have limiting beliefs and messages that we've got to continue to work on. And so I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the inside job that's ongoing, at least for me.
Yes, ditto. I can definitely relate to that. It is an it's ongoing work that is very fulfilling once we continue to make progress and see the change and be the difference and that sort of thing. But yeah, it is work. It is truly,
It's
truly
hard
work.
to be confronted with. I was in my group yesterday and we were talking about the difference being able to feel anger and express it appropriately, when oftentimes as women, when we get angry, we cry, because
Mm,
that was
mhm,
acceptable. Anger was
mm,
not. And so just
mm,
to even learn, like, if I'm angry, at someone in my company or with a client or even in my marriage, like, how do I feel that? Because it's important. And then how do I express that in a clean, direct, not shaming way for them, not shaming way for me? And man, that stuff's work, but it's incredible. It is incredible work. It's incredible work for business owners because I want to be a good leader. I want to be a servant leader. So if I can't do relationship well, I'm not a good leader. And I better learn how to do a relationship with God and me. And then I can do a relationship well with you.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Because I think there was a time when this phrase, knowing who I am in Christ, was foreign to me. And I was like, what does that even mean? How do those words even go together?
What's that mean?
It was so foreign.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
then when I started to see myself through God's eyes, it really was a game changer. Because I was like, I'm the daughter of a king. That means I'm royalty and he likes to bless me. And that is fine with me.
Yes.
I'm totally okay with that. So that is kind of the shift that I had to make over the years, how I viewed myself, the view of myself that I had to change over time in order for me to truly live in the purpose that I'm here on this planet for.
And how do I make myself available as a leader so that if I have something going on that's a blind spot for me, how to create a culture and environment where my people can come and lovingly confront me with what they see because they want to call me up, not out. They want to call me up to being the best I can be. And there's a lot of work we do in taking out hierarchy and creating those kind of environments. There's so much we could talk about.
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love that. And that is a culture that we have created in our company, that we're so open, and our team knows that they can talk to me about anything, that I am for them. I am for their success. And I'm figuring this thing out as we're going. Like every day is a new adventure and I may not always get it right. And so I'm so grateful to have a team that says, you know how when you said this, and maybe you could have said it like this. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, dang, you're right. And then I go back and apologize, like, yeah, sorry. And just because I come back and apologize doesn't mean I'm not a good leader. It just, or that I'm a weak leader. It just means that I'm a human leader and I respect them and their voice, and it means something, and I'm being made better because of their feedback for me.
Yes. And your people love to, they love to love their leader. They want to love their leader. And so when you own something like that, when I own a mistake I've made or something I could have done better, it just brings us closer. It doesn't drive us away. It doesn't make us look weak. I think when leaders have done that for me, I'm like, oh, I want to support, I want to engage, I want to help, I want to contribute. I love that person because that person is human, that person is real, and that person is with me. It's not power over, it's power, it's power with, Renee Brown talks about that whole concept of, are we leaders that are hierarchical with power over people? Or are we leaders that serve with, where the mission is the boss and we serve at the pleasure of the mission? And that's loving really well in business because we are doing it together.
I love that. And it's, say that again about the mission, what Renee Brown says. Are we leading?
No, Renee Brown says the thing about power is, are we power over, right? Like managers is power over. Like we don't need management in anything, but get rid of that word. We're leaders. Everyone's a leader. And so a manager's power over control, manipulation. I'm going to tell you what to do. I mean, even if it's kind, it's still, I have the power. I have the gun, I have the hatchet to fire you, right? But power with means we've got to look at what's our mission, and that becomes our boss. And even as a business owner, I have a part I play to serve and accomplish that mission. And it's no more important than everybody else doing what they're doing. And that mindset creates, more community, like the culture you're talking about, where everybody's like, wow, I'm important to this. No matter how big or how small, I'm important to that getting done, because without me, that wouldn't get done as well.
That's right. 100%. I love that. The mission is the boss. That's going to be the theme of our next team meeting.
And I encourage you, so I got that from Chuck and the Crankside group, but I encourage you to read the book, Making Money is Killing Your Business. It's about what we're talking about.
Hold on.
And the second book, Making Money is Killing Your Business. The author is Chuck Blakeman. I can share this with you by email too. And the other book, if you're wanting to, if you have people that work with you, solopreneurs can benefit from this book. But if you're a solopreneur and you also, maybe you have a lot of vendors you work with, or you're wanting to hire people, VAs or employees, we call them stakeholders, then the other book you need to read is called Rehumanizing the Workplace by Giving Everybody Their Brains Back.
Rehumanizing the workplace by giving everyone their brains back.
And it's this whole idea of how can we take hierarchy out and really make the mission as the boss. So 2 books I'd highly recommend. Wish I'd written them. I teach them. I help drive the concept through, organizations, but they're wonderful books and really helpful to any business owner. So I'm proud to promote them.
I love that. Thank you so much for that recommendation. I will definitely be downloading them on Audible because that's how I read books. But that is fantastic. And so,
Renee, they're great books to even like if you do team things, like do a book study together like that.
Yeah.
Right? Dig into it as a team and have everybody, work on creating that together. That's the whole idea, right? So often, I've talked before about doing these 3 to 5 clubs, which are clubs of business owners that all have different businesses and they come together to work on their business together in community. And we have a teaching content piece and a problem solving piece. But it's one of the things that so often the reason it was created and the reason I love being involved since 2010 is that business owners can feel really alone. And you can feel like it's just me. And these are just, I'm the only one who has these problems. Well, you get in these 3 to 5 clubs and everybody's got the same problems. It doesn't matter what business you have. We all have the same kind of issues. And then together we can give each other ideas and support each other to find solutions for those. And a team can do that together as well.
I love that. Now, and this may be a subject for the green room after the show, but when you're doing the book study like this with Making Money is Killing Your Business, which I think is fantastic, what if your team is contractors? They're not employees.
Why not? You tell me why not? Why wouldn't it work?
I hope it does because I want to try it.
Because whether we have people on a W-2 payroll or whether they're independent contractors, we're still a team.
Yes.
So as a business owner, as a leader, I want all of us thinking the same way about how we do business and our culture and creating our business and our process and our customer service. So I want everybody's input and to bring everybody along as well. I've often said to people, one of the reasons you may be with me is you may think you're coming on to work for me and then realize you could start your own business. And I'd love to see that happen. I'd love to see that rub off. I think small business is the fabric of our country. Yes. It's the fabric of our world. I love women entrepreneurs. They're so collaborative. They love well by doing good better than anybody. Right? And so it's exciting to be able to cast that kind of vision for someone who never saw themselves that way and realize they could do that too.
Yes, I love that. And you're giving me more ideas about the foundations or the support or the community to get involved with. The more you say that and to give people an opportunity to see themselves differently.
And a place even, so we do this in clubs, but you could do this with your team, right? I want to create a place where people go, I don't know. I'm really stuck. I feel really alone. And so we don't, as business owners, want to say that to our people or our spouse or a vendor because the spouse will be up all night, worrying, or our kids, right? And then a vendor, we might feel like, oh, maybe they don't want to work with us because they don't think my business is very secure, or a client, right? But we need a place to say it because it's just true. We all need help. We all have times where we don't know what to do. but we often are such rugged individualists, especially growing up in this country. We don't realize we are better together, and we can't really do it at a high level alone. We can think for a while, we can. And then we're going to hit a place where we're like, I really need a community of help to just maybe even help me get through. If I hadn't had a community as a single mom, I don't know what would have happened.
Right.
It would have been really hard.
Yeah, it's so important. I think community is key to the success of any business owner, whether you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, or you've been in business for 20 years. Community is so key. You have to have that place where, like you said, where you can go and share what is going on in your world and know that it's not just falling on ears that can't relate. Everyone in the room of the community that you're building should be able to respond to that and be like, oh yeah, I went through that too, and this is how I handle it.
Yes.
I'm not, saying that I'm the know-all, end-all, be-all, or therapist or anything like that, but I understand.
Yeah.
And that sometimes is all you need, is just to know that somebody else can understand.
And I think as a leader, we can say that to our people. We can come into a meeting and go, I'm not sure. Like, I'm sure maybe about this piece, but I really want to put this out to the group, because sometimes that wisdom of crowds, there's somebody in there who doesn't know enough about what you do to even your own people, right? To actually provide a solution that was like, duh. Like, why not think of that? Well, because I need you, right? And so I love what you said and one of our goals is like, how are we human in what we do?
Right. So key, so critical. Now, I cannot believe we're coming up on time for the show. Time has just flown by. And Sandy, I want to give everyone an opportunity to meet you, follow you, learn more about you, work with you. How can we stay in touch with you?
So my website's kind of under development. So you put in the notes, which is findsandycorrigan.com. And in the next couple months, it will be completed, is my goal. I wanted to redo it all. But Sandy at thecorrigangroup.com. So Sandy at thecorrigangroup.com.
Love it.
You can call me, 303-907-1010. People are like, I'm shocked that I've never had anybody abuse it. 303-907-1010. Maybe someday I'll have to change it, but call me. And then on social media, I'm Sandra Carol Corrigan on my personal page. I'm Sandy Corrigan on my business page. I have a Love Well by Doing Good page. Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. I think I'm all Sandra Corrigan or Sandy Corrigan. So I'm on all the social media as well. So you can find me everywhere. You can come to Denver and find me.
I love it. And your Instagram is just beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of fun pictures these days. I decided to up my whole game at 69, and I am entering the Mrs. Colorado pageant in April of 2025.
Congratulations! How exciting!
And I would love to tell you too. I've just, as I said, launching this Love Well by Doing Good podcast. So if you're interested in talking about how you're doing that in your business, love to interview you. And I've also created what I call an 8-week experiential transformational journey. It is done in a group of 12 or less. And it is all about the topic we're talking about. It is all about, for 8 weeks, 90 minutes a week, being able to look at your vision, your mission, your values, your purpose, and the way to create a strategy and plan to live that out through what you do with metrics and results. So
that is fantastic. And I know we didn't share this in the very beginning, but you've helped CEOs earn over $100 million. So you are definitely an authority in this space. I highly recommend anyone watching to take Sandy up on her offer for the courses, and definitely follow her on all the socials. You will not regret it.
Sandy, and I want to follow you back. So message me and tell me what you do so I can follow you back, because I really want to create a world where we look for opportunities to help one another. And I know you're like, I just wish you lived in my backyard, Renee, so we could be girlfriends and have coffee.
I know, right? Have coffee time. Could be coffee clutching neighbors.
Yes, and maybe we just need to do that regularly on Zoom. I've thought about that. I just need a social group. We do coffee or a glass of wine with or something.
Yeah, hey, count me in.
Okay.
I'm there. I love that.
And I would love that. And I can't wait to have you on my podcast. I can't wait.
Yes. Same. I'm super excited. Would love to be on your show. I'd be honored to be on your show. We are kindred spirits, I think. Just like, sisters from another mother or something.
Yes.
I love it. Well, Sandy, you were made for something great. So go and be awesome.
Mm-hmm.